Did you know that some nuts can make your body stronger, your memory more active, and even help with leg health? The truth is that after 60, your body needs more care, and even what you eat for your afternoon snack can make a difference. Some nuts help strengthen muscles, improve circulation, and even prevent those annoying leg pains. If you want to walk more steadily, have more energy in your daily life, and protect your health naturally, stick with me until the end, because these simple tips can transform your routine. In this video, I'll show you 4 nuts that help your body age more healthily, and 4 others that are best to avoid. Let's start with the first one on the list, pistachios. If you're trying to stay healthy without relying solely on pills, it's worth paying attention to some simple foods that make a difference. Pistachios are one of them. They may seem like just a common snack, but they have qualities that help aging people live more comfortably, especially when it comes to circulation, blood sugar, and hunger control. One of the main advantages of pistachios is how they act on blood vessels. They contain a nutrient called arginine, which helps keep veins and arteries flexible. As we age, it is common for circulation to slow down, and this affects the entire body, swelling in the legs, tiredness when walking, and a feeling of heaviness at the end of the day. Pistachios help relieve these symptoms by facilitating blood flow. It is also a food that helps maintain more stable sugar levels. Unlike other snack options that cause glucose spikes, pistachios are absorbed more slowly. This prevents sudden drops in energy and reduces the risk of hyperglycemia, which is common among older adults with diabetes or insulin resistance. As a result, the body works more regularly and with less effort. Another positive point is that they are very filling. Because they contain fiber and protein, pistachios prolong satiety. In other words, with just a small amount, you can feel satisfied for longer. This can be useful for those who want to avoid snacking between meals or reduce the size of their meals without going hungry. Now, it is important to talk about how to consume them. Processed pistachios with salt or flavorings are not the best choice. Excess salt can negate the benefits and even harm blood pressure. The ideal is natural or simply roasted pistachios without added salt. The ideal consumption is around 30 grams per day, which is about a small handful. This is enough to enjoy the benefits without exceeding fat and calorie limits. And since they are so convenient, they can be carried in your bag, left in a jar in the kitchen, or used as part of your afternoon snack. For those who are paying closer attention to their health, including pistachios a few times a week can help maintain a balance between nutrition, energy, and circulation, without having to change everything at once. Now let's talk about the second item on this list, but before we continue, make sure your subscription to the channel is active. Take the opportunity to tell us where you are watching from by writing the name of your country here in the comments. It's amazing to see how this content is reaching people in so many places around the world. The next item on our list is almonds. Among so many options of nuts and chestnuts, almonds stand out for one simple reason: they deliver a lot, even in small portions. And for those over 60, that makes a difference. The body changes over time, and so do its needs. Almonds are one of those choices that help supply what the body begins to have more difficulty producing or absorbing. They are rich in vitamin E, which has an important function, protecting cells. Over the years, damage caused by time, the sun, and even old habits accumulates. Vitamin E helps slow down this process. This does not mean that you will rejuvenate, but it can help keep your skin, eyes, and blood vessels in better condition. In addition, almonds contain magnesium, which is essential for bones. Many people only think about calcium, but magnesium is what helps calcium to be absorbed. Without it, bones can remain fragile, even with supplementation. This is especially important for those who already have osteopenia or are trying to avoid falls and fractures. Magnesium also plays a role in muscle contraction, heart function, and even sleep. Almonds are also good for the gut. They offer good amounts of fiber, which improves intestinal transit and prevents discomfort such as constipation. Efficient digestion affects the entire body, including cholesterol control. This, in turn, has a direct impact on circulation. Even though they are nutritious, almonds are also high in calories. Therefore, it is best to consume them in moderation. A small handful per day, about 20 to 25 grams, is enough to reap the benefits. There is no need to overdo it. Most importantly, avoid caramelized or salted versions. These transform a healthy food into something that can do more harm than good. Because they are easy to store, carry, and eat, almonds are a good solution for those who want to improve their diet without complicating their routine. If the goal is to maintain bone strength, protect the heart, and take care of the skin, this is a simple choice that can help a lot. Next item on the list, walnuts. After a certain age, keeping your mind active and your body strong becomes a priority. And some simple food choices can help in this process. Walnuts are a good example of this. It is no exaggeration to say that they act as a natural booster for the brain, heart, and even mobility. These nuts, the common ones, brown on the outside and light-colored on the inside, are known to contain a good amount of plant-based omega-3. This nutrient helps protect brain cells from aging. When consumed regularly, it can contribute to a more stable memory, greater concentration, and even improved mood. All of this has a practical influence on everyday life. Fewer forgetfulness, more clarity in decision-making, and greater ease in maintaining independence. In addition to the brain, walnuts also act on circulation. They help keep blood vessels healthier and more flexible. This means less effort for the heart to pump blood and less risk of suffering from swollen legs, cold feet, or that feeling of heaviness at the end of the day. This is because omega-3 also has anti-inflammatory properties, which help improve blood flow. Another important benefit is cholesterol. Walnuts help lower bad cholesterol, LDL, and increase good cholesterol, HDL. For those who already take cholesterol medication or have a history of heart attack, this does not replace treatment, but reinforces care and can help prevent problems from progressing. In addition, they provide antioxidants and minerals such as copper and manganese, which help strengthen bones and the nervous system. These nutrients contribute to the body's stability and the prevention of falls, which are one of the biggest concerns as we age. Ideally, consume a small portion per day, between 25 and 30 grams, which is about 6 to 8 units. Avoid versions with salt or sugar, and to preserve them well, store them in a closed container away from moisture. Including nuts in your diet does not require any radical changes. They can be eaten plain, with fruit, mixed in yogurt or oatmeal. The important thing is to make it a habit, because over time, the benefits accumulate and help the body function with more balance. Let's move on to the next item on the list, Brazil nuts. Over time, the body begins to show signs that it needs reinforcement. Sometimes it is energy that decreases, other times it is the legs that seem more tired, or even the immune system that does not respond as before. At such times, including certain foods can help balance the body. Brazil nuts are among the most recommended for this. The main reason is selenium. This mineral plays an essential role in the body, even though it is needed in very small amounts. Brazil nuts are one of the richest natural sources of selenium. Just 1 nut a day is enough to meet an adult's daily requirement. Selenium protects cells, supports thyroid function, and reduces inflammation, which makes a big difference for people over 60. Inflammation is a factor that influences several conditions linked to aging: chronic pain, poor circulation, tired legs, and muscle stiffness. When the body has access to nutrients that combat this type of process, daily life becomes easier. Brazil nuts also help improve vein elasticity, which promotes blood return and reduces the feeling of heaviness in the lower limbs. In addition to selenium, they also provide healthy fats, magnesium, and phosphorus, all important for muscle function and bone health. This can help maintain firmer walking, more stable movements, and even greater safety to prevent falls. But here comes an important caveat: excess. Unlike other nuts, Brazil nuts should not be consumed in large quantities. 1 or 2 a day is enough. Eating more than that can cause selenium buildup, which is not recommended. They are also high in calories. Therefore, it is best to include them in a light snack, at breakfast, or as part of a simple meal. And always opt for the natural version, without salt or sugar. With regular and balanced consumption, Brazil nuts can offer a good way to keep the body protected, with more energy, less pain, and better circulation. You don't have to change your entire diet. Sometimes a small adjustment is enough to make a difference. So far, we've talked about nuts that offer real benefits for those who are aging. Those that help maintain circulation, control blood sugar, and strengthen the body. But as with everything in nutrition, not all options are safe for everyday consumption. Now let's look at the other side of the list. Nuts that require caution. Some are too high in calories, others interfere with medications, and there are those that increase inflammation in the body. Exactly what you want to avoid after 60. It's not about cutting everything out at once, but understanding what can be a risk if consumed without caution. This is the kind of information that helps you make better choices without complications or scares later on. 1. Macadamia nuts. Macadamia nuts tend to attract attention due to their lighter appearance, mild flavor, and soft texture. For many people, they seem like a refined and healthy choice. But that is precisely where the problem lies. Not everything that is natural and tasty is compatible with the care that the body requires after the age of 60. The first issue is caloric density. A few macadamia nuts contain a very high amount of calories and fat, and this is true even in small portions. For those trying to keep their weight under control, especially with a slower metabolism, this can make the process more difficult. Excess weight doesn't just weigh you down on the scale. It directly affects your joints, breathing, and energy levels for daily tasks. In addition, the fat in macadamia nuts, although it contains some good fats, comes in large quantities. When your diet is already high in calories from other sources, this nut can overload your body. If you already have high cholesterol, a history of cardiovascular disease, or take medication for blood pressure and circulation, it is best to avoid highly concentrated sources of fat, even if they appear natural. Another point to consider is the nutritional value compared to other nuts. Macadamia nuts have less fiber, fewer minerals, and less protein. This means that, despite being high in calories, they are less filling. You eat them, but you may feel hungry again quickly. This increases the risk of overeating without even realizing it. It is also worth remembering that macadamia nuts often appear in recipes with sugar, chocolate, or toppings. In these versions, the nutritional value is even more compromised. Even pure macadamia nuts should be consumed in moderation occasionally, and not as part of your daily routine. For those looking for healthy snack options that help with circulation, energy, and weight control, there are more complete and safer alternatives. Macadamia nuts are not prohibited, but they are far from being the best choice for those who want to take better care of their bodies as they age. 2. Cashews. It's easy to like cashews. They are crunchy, have a pleasant flavor, and are found in many processed products. Many people consider them a healthy option, and in some cases, they are. But for those over 60, it is worth understanding better what this nut offers and what it can do, especially if consumed frequently. One of the points that needs to be taken into account is the amount of carbohydrates. Cashews have more carbohydrates than other nuts. This means that they are digested more quickly and tend to raise blood sugar levels more easily. For those with diabetes, pre-diabetes, or who are trying to keep their blood sugar under control, this can be a problem. Even a small serving can interfere with this balance. Another important factor is the oxalates present in this nut. When consumed in excess, this compound interferes with calcium absorption. For those with osteopenia or osteoporosis, this information makes a difference. In addition, oxalates place greater demands on the kidneys, and those who already have some type of kidney problem should take extra care with foods that contain this type of substance. Cashews are also quite high in calories like most oilseeds, but because they have less fiber and less protective fats than other nuts, they are less filling. In other words, they are not as filling as they seem, and because they are tasty, it is easy to overeat without realizing it. In many commercial versions, they are also sold with salt or sugary coatings, which makes them even worse. In these cases, the risk of harming blood pressure, blood sugar, and body weight increases even more. For those trying to reduce inflammation, improve circulation, or protect their bones, cashews are not the best ally. This does not mean you need to cut them out entirely, but rather avoid daily or uncontrolled consumption. If you still want to eat them occasionally, do so mindfully and always in their most natural form. In summary, there are more balanced options with less impact on blood sugar, better nutritional value, and less risk to bones and kidneys. And when the goal is to age with less pain, more mobility, and more energy, these details make all the difference. 3. Peanuts. Peanuts are one of the most popular and inexpensive snacks available. They are found at parties, in bars, in sweets, and even in spreads that claim to be natural. Precisely because they are so common, many people end up including them in their daily diet without thinking twice. But after age 60, it is important to know that peanuts can pose risks that go unnoticed. One of the main causes for concern is the risk of contamination by aflatoxins, toxic substances produced by fungi that grow easily on peanuts, especially when they are poorly stored. These toxins are odorless and tasteless, but can cause liver damage over time. For those who take medication on a regular basis, this is something that needs to be taken seriously, as the liver is the organ that processes most of these drugs. In addition, peanuts are often found in processed versions with added salt, sugar, or oils. These combinations increase inflammation in the body, unbalance blood pressure, and contribute to weight gain. Factors that directly affect circulation, heart function, and leg comfort. Even the unsalted roasted version, if consumed in excess, can weigh heavily on the body. Another point to consider is the type of fat that peanuts contain. They have a more inflammatory fat profile compared to other nuts. For those who already have joint problems, varicose veins, leg pain, or signs of poor circulation, this can worsen symptoms over time. Constant inflammation in the body does not hurt right away, but it builds up, and sooner or later it begins to show. Peanuts are also high in calories. A small serving already has a lot of calories, and because they are not very filling, it is easy to eat more than necessary. This hinders weight control, and anyone who already feels the effects of excess weight on their joints knows that it interferes with even simple things like walking or climbing stairs. If you still want to consume them, it is best to choose raw or unsalted roasted peanuts in small quantities and occasionally. But if the goal is to take better care of your health, circulation, and body balance, other options offer more safety and real benefits. 4. Pine nuts. Pine nuts have a pleasant taste, firm texture, and seem like an innocent food, but they are not always the best choice for those at a stage in life that requires more care with their diet. The first point to note is their nutritional composition. Pine nuts are a rich source of carbohydrates, which means that when digested, they quickly turn into sugar. For those with diabetes or who need to control their blood sugar, this effect can be a problem. Even a moderate amount can cause blood sugar spikes, which affects energy, blood vessel function, and even mood throughout the day. Another factor of concern is the possibility of interference with medications. Some substances present in pine nuts can influence the functioning of the liver, which is responsible for metabolizing most of the medications used daily. This can alter the effect of treatments, especially in people who already use more than one type of medication at the same time. There are also reports of changes in taste after frequent consumption of pine nuts. Although uncommon, this can affect the way a person eats and even cause loss of appetite or changes in food taste. For those who already have difficulty maintaining a balanced diet, this type of effect can be more disruptive than it seems. Pine nuts are also relatively high in calories, which requires attention. During festive seasons, it is common to overeat without realizing it. And as they take a while to make you feel full, it is easy to overindulge. For those who are watching their weight, this excess can mean more pressure on the joints, less energy, and more discomfort at the end of the day. Although they are a traditional and nutritious food in some respects, pine nuts are not recommended for daily consumption by older adults. It is best to save them for special occasions, consume them in moderation, and always pay attention to how your body reacts. Making good food choices does not mean cutting everything out, but knowing when and how to consume certain foods. And in the case of pine nuts, the best approach is moderation, especially when the focus is on maintaining healthy legs, circulation, and well-being in everyday life. As the years go by, every detail counts. What you eat today can influence how your body will respond tomorrow, whether you will feel like walking, whether your legs will hurt less at the end of the day, whether your blood sugar will remain stable. And nuts, which seem small, have a greater impact than many people realize. Some really help, strengthening circulation, improving heart health, and relieving inflammation. Others, on the other hand, can silently interfere with excess calories, interfering with medications, or even worsening problems that are already there, just waiting for a trigger to manifest. That's why knowing these foods is a smarter way to take care of your body. It's not about cutting everything out or following strict rules, but about choosing what goes on your plate more carefully, and in doing so, avoiding many of the discomforts that come with age. Small changes made consistently tend to bring more solid results than big promises, and diet is one of the first steps. It's simple, accessible, and can be adjusted according to each person's routine.